You can buy a house. You can buy an island. Richard Branson bought one for $200,000 in the 1970s. Larry Ellison bought 98% of a Hawaiian island for $300 million. But what if you wanted to go bigger? What if you wanted to buy an entire country? Not rent it, not invest in it. Actually, purchase a sovereign nation. The land, the buildings, the government, all of it. Sounds insane. But here's the thing, colon countries have been bought and sold before. And today, some billionaires have enough money to do it again, theoretically. So let's break this down. What would it actually take to buy a country? And could anyone alive today pull it off? First, we need to figure out what a country is actually worth. This gets complicated fast. A country isn't just land. It's infrastructure, buildings, businesses, natural resources, and people. You can't just buy people. So let's focus on what you could theoretically purchase: the physical stuff. Let's start small. Tuvalu is the world's smallest economy. It's a tiny island nation in the Pacific with about 11,000 people. Its entire gross domestic product is around $60 million per year. That's less than what Amazon makes in a single day. Tuvalu makes most of its money from fishing licenses. And, this is real, licensing its quotation mark .tv quotation mark internet domain to streaming companies. The entire country runs partly on website addresses. If you wanted to buy everything in Tuvalu, the land, the buildings, the boats, the infrastructure, you're probably looking at somewhere between $500 million and $1 billion. That's a rough estimate based on gross domestic product multipliers and asset values. For context, that's less than what Jeff Bezos's yacht costs. Nauru is another option. It's the smallest island nation in the world, just 8 square miles. Population: 12,000. Gross domestic product: around $150 million. Nauru used to be rich. In the 1970s, it had the second highest gross domestic product per capita in the world because of phosphate mining. Then they ran out of phosphate. Now the country is broke and desperate. How desperate? Sam Bankman-Fried, the crypto guy who ran FTX, reportedly planned to buy Nauru before his company collapsed. He wanted to build a doomsday bunker and a genetics lab there. He had $26 billion at his peak. Nauru's entire economy is worth maybe $300 million to $500 million in assets. He could have done it. Okay, but those are micronations. What about actual countries? Let's try Monaco. Monaco is less than 1 square mile, but it's the richest country on earth per capita. Gross domestic product per capita: over $230,000. 1/3 of residents are millionaires. Real estate costs $58,000 per square meter. Total value of Monaco? Conservative estimate: $50 billion to $100 billion just for the real estate. Add in bank assets, businesses, and infrastructure, and you're looking at hundreds of billions. Elon Musk's net worth right now? Around $650 billion to $750 billion. On paper, he could buy Monaco. The entire country. Every apartment, casino, yacht club, and bank. But here's where it gets weird. Buying a country isn't like buying a house. There's no deed, no title, no closing process. Countries aren't for sale because sovereignty isn't a commodity. A country is defined by international recognition, not ownership. You can buy all the land in a nation. You can buy every building. But you still don't own the country. The government still exists. The citizens still have rights. The United Nations still recognizes it as an independent state. Even if you bought every square inch of Monaco, Prince Albert would still be the monarch. The laws would still apply. you'd just be ellipses a really aggressive landlord. This is why no one has successfully bought a country in modern times. But it wasn't always this way. Countries used to get bought and sold all the time. In 1803, the United States bought the Louisiana Territory from France for $15 million. That's about $400 million today. The deal included 828,000 square miles, roughly 15 current US states. Cost per acre, 3 cents. Napoleon needed cash for his wars. America needed land. Done. In 1867, the US bought Alaska from Russia for $7.2 million. That's about 2 cents per acre. People called it quotation mark Seward's folly quotation mark after the Secretary of State who negotiated it. Everyone thought it was a frozen wasteland. Then they found gold. Then oil. Alaska is now worth an estimated $37 billion in land value alone. And that's before you count the natural resources. These deals happened because the sellers were desperate and the buyers were strategic. Russia was broke after the Crimean War. France needed money to fight Britain. Desperation creates opportunities. Today's billionaires can't buy countries outright, but they've found workarounds. Option 1: buy the economy. Small countries depend heavily on a few industries. Control those industries, and you effectively control the country. In Nauru, a Canadian mining company called the Metals Company convinced the government to sponsor their deep-sea mining operations. In exchange, Nauru gets about $2 per ton of material extracted, less than 0.5% of the value. The company gets access to resources. Nauru gets to keep existing. That's not ownership, but it's close. Option 2: buy citizenship. Many countries sell citizenship directly. Malta, Portugal, Cyprus, and several Caribbean nations all have quotation mark golden passport quotation mark programs. Pay $100,000 to $2 million and you're a citizen. For billionaires, this isn't about passports, it's about influence. Citizens can donate to political campaigns, buy property without restrictions, and build relationships with government officials. You don't need to own the country if you can shape its decisions. Option 3: build your own. Peter Thiel funded the Seasteading Institute, which tried to create floating cities in international waters, places with no government and no laws except the ones they wrote. It hasn't worked yet. But the idea persists: if you can't buy a country, maybe you can make one. Here's the closest you can get to owning a country: buy an island and declare independence. People have tried this. A lot? In the 1970s, a millionaire named Michael Oliver tried to create a libertarian nation called the Republic of Minerva on an artificial island in the South Pacific. He built it on a reef using dredged sand. Tonga sent its military. They planted a flag. The country quotation mark lasted about 6 months. In Portugal, a guy named Renato Barros bought a tiny island called Pontinha for €25,000. He declared it an independent principality and made himself prince. Portugal hasn't officially recognized it. Neither has the UN. But Barros doesn't care. He calls himself Prince Renato II and makes his own laws, at least on his tiny rock. The pattern is clear: you can buy land, but you can't buy legitimacy. Let's run the numbers on a theoretical purchase. Target: a small, struggling nation. Candidate: let's use a fictional composite based on real micronations. Land area: 10 square miles. Population: 15,000. Gross domestic product: $100 million. Total asset value: land, buildings, infrastructure: approximately $1 billion. National debt: $200 million. Total acquisition cost : roughly $1.2 billion if you bought everything and paid off their debts. Richest person in the world: Elon Musk at $650 billion to $750 billion. He could buy this hypothetical country 500 plus times over. The money isn't the problem. The problem is that no one is selling. And even if they were, the international community wouldn't recognize the sale. You can't buy sovereignty. You can only buy stuff. So could you buy an entire country? Technically, maybe. If you found a desperate enough nation, negotiated with every landowner, paid off all debts, and somehow got the government to dissolve itself, ellipses, you might end up owning everything physical within a country's borders. Practically? No. Countries aren't property. They're ideas backed by international agreements. You can buy a nation's economy. You can buy its politicians. You can buy its land. But you can't buy its existence. The richest person alive has more wealth than many countries produce in decades. But wealth isn't the same as power, and ownership isn't the same as sovereignty. That's the uncomfortable truth about money at this scale. There are things it can't buy. At least ellipses not yet.